up, everybody? Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video, and this comment appeared on one of our previous videos about how to pick your main role. So I'm gonna break down exactly what you need to do in order to pick your main role, your main character, and just have everything fall into place so that you can climb and dominate. So we're gonna jump right in, but go to the GameLeap website if you want to improve on any agent. We got in-depth VOD reviews and guides that is gonna help you step-by-step improve. So go check them out right now down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, before we even talk about what you need to do to find that perfect main role, we need to talk about why having a main role, a main character, and ultimately specializing in a small number of variables is the most important thing you could do for your development as a player. The thing is, if you become a jack of all trades, master of none, you might know how to play most characters and you might fill all the time, but you're never going to go above and beyond. You're never going to reach mastery, and you're never going to truly be able to hard carry if you move yourself around way too much. So the first thing that we need to do is actually fall into that role. Find the perfect role for you. Of course, there's 4 of them, and each one of them is going to do something distinctly different. So depending on your preference, you can kind of fall into one of these categories and decide which one you are mainly going to be in. First off, we got to talk about the duelist. Your primary job as a duelist is to be a space taker, meaning you create space on point, less angles that your teammates have to clear. You're pushing further through sight, gathering information while you do, and putting a lot of pressure on the enemy. You can't be someone who is a doubter of yourself, right? You need to be a little bit cocky, have that confidence backing you up, because you cannot bait your team. You have to be pushing in, and you have to know when it's go time, when you need to put the plan to action, because you're the tip of the spear. On top of that, typically duelists, while they do have a lot of tools that is going to help you get frags and have high number of kills, a lot of the duelists in general are going to be mechanically skill dependent, meaning if you have large amounts of mechanical skill, you can convert that to more wins in the duelist category than any other category. Now, next up is the initiator. You're going to be the information gatherer. You're going to allow much cleaner engagements if you want to play the game in any rank, much more similar to pro Valorant than it is to random deathmatch. Initiator is going to allow you to do that far more with cleaner engagements, punishing enemies from holding just really angles that really are just kind of ridiculous. They're off angles, they're in the middle of nowhere, and oftentimes really solid initiator play is going to punish all these bad mistakes over tons of players. And if you really like that type of playstyle, you're gonna love initiator, being able to outplay enemies with specifically your brain rather than just your gunplay all the time. Now, next up, we do gotta talk about the sentinel role. This is kind of like the art of the shutdown. If the duelist is the tip of the spear, the sentinel is like the shield oftentimes, that a good sentinel is trying to make the duelist's job a nightmare. Very, very difficult because they're tucked in a corner somewhere, they're playing off their utility, they're making it very hard to clear you perfectly, and oftentimes, even if they do all the right things, you're still ahead of them in the information department. A key aspect of a sentinel is being unpredictable with how you set up, how you play, and you're typically going to be all centered around powerful setup utility. So this might be your style depending on the type of player you want to be. Last up, we do got to talk about controller. Now, the controller is often the player that is going to be that clutch god, because typically you are the last person alive. You also are going to need a high amount of game macro understanding how your smokes impact the battlefield, where the fight is going to take place, how to save and utilize your abilities to set up cleaner engages, and ultimately, this is the role that is one of the most important, especially in ranked, because if you don't have a controller, it's going to be very easy to abuse your entire team. So at the very least, you get some free match points just for being a controller in the first place, assuring you always have one. Now, specialization shouldn't just end at the role. Even though you don't necessarily need to only specialize in a role, I would highly suggest specializing in at max 3 characters, but realistically 2 is better. This gives you proper playtime in mastering each and every character you decide to main, and in every category, each type of character will have play patterns that you enjoy, and it's very important to decide on a character based on what is the actual optimized play pattern. Like, maybe you like Jet, maybe you like judging on Jet, you like dashing in and rolling these motherfuckers in vent with your shotgun, right? Sure, that might be fun, and that might be something you could do in unrated, but that is not why you should main Jet if that is why you like Jet, because that's not what you're going to be doing in your ranked games if you want to climb past a certain rank. So don't go for the balls to the walls crazy play. Pick a character that you like the regular, solid, default playstyle of that character. That's going to better help you have more fun in the highlight moments and not get bored out of your mind in some of the down moments where you're just doing your job and you're playing the comp. Now, something that's important is oftentimes character specialization goes hand in hand with role specialization. Like if you're a controller main and maybe you're an Astra main, that doesn't mean that you should just be playing Astra on every single map, because there's going to be map and meta specificities and responsibilities depending on your rank. Let me give a great example of this. Viper on Breeze is like the best controller you could possibly play. In fact, she really is the main one that's viable. And sure, in lower ranks, it's going to matter less and less what you play. You could make anything work. Hell, you can make no controllers work. But if you're trying to play optimally and give yourself the best chance of winning climbing past a certain rank, then you're gonna want to be able to flex to the characters that are really strong and really necessary on specific maps. So you could be a controller main that gets to play Viper, that gets to play Astra, depending on the map that you're playing on. And that's a great way to spread out your agent pool without going too far and trying to learn every single character in the entire game. Now, the next thing that you need to understand about specialization is it goes a step further than that, which is weaponry. Some characters are automatically going to prefer weaponry. So let's take like the Jet Operator, for instance. That's going to be a character that if you want to be a good opper, you might want to be playing Jet. And if you want to play Jet, you probably should learn how to op. They kind of go hand in hand, right? If you never want to touch the op at all, then Jet might not be your character, because once you get to a certain point, you're not playing completely optimal with the powerful weapons in the game. Doesn't mean you can't climb high without opping. It just means that you're not utilizing the character to their maximum potential. Now, on top of that, specialty in weaponry should kind of go above and beyond even character and role specialization, because you should really try to find that consistency in your weaponry. And you might be asking, what the hell do you mean by consistency in my weapon choices? Well, this is a problem that I see a lot when I VOD review people. They will almost play musical chairs with the weapons that they're using on different types of eco rounds. So for instance, one eco round they'll rock a Sheriff, and then the next one they'll rock a Shorty and hide in a completely different location in a corner. And then the next one they'll be using an Ares, and then one round they'll use a Vandal, the next round they'll use a Phantom, and then they're using a Marshal. And they're just basically playing like almost every single gun throughout the entire match. And yeah, those exact same people are wondering why they're not that great with the Sheriff or great with the Marshal, or they can't hit consistent shots with the right click on the classic pistol. It's because you are practicing way too many guns. You're using way too many guns, and you're not kind of maximizing the potential of any individual gun, because just like with the role specialization and just like with the character specialization, weapon specialization allows you to master the weaponry because you're effectively putting much more hours on the guns of your choice. So decide on the type of guns that you want to use, decide on your playstyle overall, depending on your character and role main, and stick to those weaponries in the criteria that you pick them. I'm not saying that you always have to pick a Sheriff when you're on like that eco round, right? I'm just saying if you picked it in one scenario because it's like the right round and you're the right character, just make sure to do that again, and don't just decide, you know, randomly or arbitrarily that you're going to use something completely different for no reason, and you're just picking a different weapon all the freaking time until you finally get some value on one of them while simultaneously barely practicing any of them. Now, the next thing that you need to understand about specialization and consistency is positioning. And this is something that you should also try to specialize. And you might also be wondering, okay, how do I specialize my position? Well, this is specifically going to talk about defense. So basically, just like with all the other levels of specialization, you're going to be able to master holding a position and how to play that position if you play it more, right? You might think, hey, I've gotten 100 reps on the map Haven. That's like, yo, I have 1,000 reps on the map Haven. Well, how many reps do you have on specifically B side? How many reps do you have on A side? How many reps do you have holding showers on defense? How many reps do you have holding every single position? And then in those reps, how many reps do you have of you having this type of utility or this weaponry in this round? So you see, you get actually exposed to more specific scenarios if you isolate and hone in on the same position. What I'm saying is, if you are a Sova main that always plays Sova and that's the character of your choice, you specialize your role and your character character 2 levels, you specialize the weaponry, so you're basically consistently buying the same type of weapons, and then you're consistently holding in the same areas so that you can learn much quicker in that position. And I'm not saying you're always going to be able to hold there. I'm just saying that that's how you become really strong at holding something very quickly, is by eliminating all these variables so you can focus up and have the maximum amount of reps in any given scenario for that specific position. Now, I know that this started off as a how to choose your main role guide, but really this is trying to tell you the key to improving quickly. Specialization is the ultimate key, because far too many of you are playing every single role and every single character and musical chairing all your weapons and changing up your positioning every single round no matter what, and you are playing the game a fuck ton, like an actual fuck ton. But the amount of different scenarios that you're experiencing is immense, and you're not really learning anything from them because there's no trial and error, there's no adaptation, there's no minute changes that you could do round after round with small changes to your play rather than your positioning and your weapon and your character and your role. So this is what I would ultimately give you the best way to improve. I know I turned a main guide into how to improve, but I really hope you see the big picture here, because it's really, really important. You can focus on things like aim, nuance, response, outplay. There's so many factors involved, but if you have any questions, please let me know down below so I can clarify it, because I think this is one of the most important things that anyone can learn. And go to the GameLeap website if you want to master any agent, or if you want more in-depth guides where we really break down Valorant fundamentals. We got them for you on the GameLeap website. You just got to go check it out right now down below. But without further ado, yeah, wait, that's the wrong, yeah. See you next time.